Good morning. Welcome to the Crawford County Commissioners Work Session for January 17th. We'll start with the Conservation District.
Good morning.
Morning, Tracy.
Hi, Tracy.
Tracy Crawford here on behalf of the Crawford County Agricultural Land Preservation Program. And two items for you today. The first is request for certification of funds for that program in the amount of $5,000. So that every January we certify the amount that was put into the budget. That has been done since 2007. Which contributes to the easement purchase of agricultural land here in Crawford County. So we have 7 farms that 5,000 has contributed to that purchase. So that would require your signature. So that's my first request.
Okay.
And the second item would be then to have payment on those funds so that they could be in the correct accounts to proceed. In addition to that, payment on the administrative funds of $4,500 also. Both items budgeted.
Okay. Okay. Any questions for Tracy?
Okay.
All right, thank you, Tracy. Domestic Relations.
Good morning.
Hi, Janie.
Morning, Shani.
We had an increase by the city of Meadville for our parking to increase from $40 to $50 a month per space. It is a budgeted item, and it was approved by the county solicitor. The cost to the county is $340 per month. We made an error on there. It's actually $4,080 yearly.
Okay. Any questions for Shani? Thank you.
Thank you.
JPO. Morning, Jen.
Good morning, Commissioners. So I have 2 items to present this morning. The first item is approval for our maintenance agreement to cover the amount of $3,940, which has been placed into the county budget to cover our warranty and support agreement for our house arrest equipment and the telecom fees for 10 house arrest units. The second item is our use level of service, and we are requesting approval for the test usage agreement becomes effective January 1st of 2024. This is an agreement between our Juvenile Court Judges Commission and also comes from the county budget. This cost increased in 2024 to $3 per assessment, and we average approximately 250 to 275 assessments each year. This is due to a new software that connects our case management system to the copyright owner of the YLS, which is the multi-health system.
Any questions for Jen? All right. Thank you.
Oh, thank you. Thank you.
Clerk of Courts.
Good morning.
Morning, Patty.
Hi, Patty.
I'm here requesting payment for both the Register of Wills and Clerk of Courts Association and for the Association of Prothonotarians and Clerk of Courts. It's our annual membership fee. They're both $625 and they are in the budget.
Thank you. Any questions for Patty?
No.
Thank you. Adult Probation.
Morning, Commissioners.
Hey,
Morning,
Trevor.
Trevor.
Hey, Trevor. I'm here this morning for approval to pay invoice in the amount of $3,873. This is for the 2024 live scan maintenance fee to the Pennsylvania Chiefs of Police Association. This is an approved line item, and this will be every year, and it's been going up the past couple years. This is up a little higher than last year, but this is the maintenance agreement for the live scan machine where we fingerprint after they're sentenced, and then it's sent off to Central Repository.
Okay.
And then the next thing is the approval to pay the invoice of $1,133. This is for a 6-class county annual assessment for the County Chief Adult Probation and Parole Officers Association, and this was an approved 2024 budget line item.
Any questions for Trevor?
No, sir.
Thank you, Trevor.
Thanks, sir.
Thanks, Trevor.
Thank you.
Chief Assessor, Mr. Gallo.
Good morning.
Good morning, Joe.
Morning, Joe.
We have a new assessor trainee in our office, Nick Lynch, and there are classes that they must complete. And they opened up the winter term. I had budgeted for him having to travel, expenses and all that. They've offered up a virtual experience, first come, first serve. So naturally I grabbed that. Additionally, the requirements for the Uniform Standards and Practices, or USPAP requirement, is being extended by the state from 7 hours to 15 hours in a test, which will substantially increase the cost. If we get him in under these virtual classes now, he will be in under the 7 hour at this point. So yeah, it would really be great if you guys would, we could cut this check and.
You need that ratified?
Yeah.
And-
Okay,
yes.
all right, we'll do that. Okay.
Yep.
Thank you. Thank you, Joe.
Thank you, sir.
Register recorder? Morning, Beth.
First item today, requesting approval for the Pennsylvania Recorder Deeds annual membership fee in the amount of $625, and this is a budgeted item.
Okay.
Okay, second item, requesting approval for the Pennsylvania Register Wills and Orphans Court annual membership fee in the amount of $625. This is also a budgeted item.
Okay.
And lastly, requesting approval for the Reynolds Business Systems invoice in the amount of $1,922.80 for the annual fees for ongoing storage of Register Wills and Recorder Deeds PDFA images, and this is also a budgeted item.
Any questions for Beth?
No.
Thank you, Beth.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Public safety? Morning, Greg.
Hi, Greg.
I'd like to approve an agreement with the Spader Company for our annual inspection and service for the building generator at a cost of $722. It's a
Okay.
budgeted expense. We're also looking to purchase 2 protocol pilot guides from Priority Dispatch at a cost of $1,194, just backup in case the CAD system would fail or anything.
Okay.
Approve agreement with Breathing Air Systems for annual maintenance on the air trailer at a cost of $1,571.75.
Okay.
Approving the annual retainer of $2,500 with McCutcheon Enterprises as Crawford County's contracted hazardous materials team.
Okay.
And approve the replacement of 2 laptops and 1 desktop administrative computer for public safety EMA staff at a cost of $3158.44. That's through IT by Dell,
Okay.
or vice versa. And we're gonna approve the replacement of 3 desktop and 4 laptop admin queues for the public safety's 911 administrative staff at a cost of $6813.12, also quoted through IT.
Okay.
And replace 6 admin computers for the 911 center at a cost of $10,101.30, purchased from Dell through IT.
Okay.
Those ones are a little more costlier because we asked them to be beefed up a little bit just because of all the platforms we're running through web-based services.
Okay.
I would like you to approve the payment of $21,107 to MCM Consulting for continued work on the 5-year hazard mitigation plan. That money will be reimbursed by FEMA.
Okay.
And lastly, we're asking for the approval of the contract with MCM Consulting to provide a P25 radio needs assessment for Crawford County at a cost of $72,000. And we'll be able to leverage our wireless legacy funds for that expense.
Could you briefly give us just a short synopsis of why we have to do that?
Because the government's saying we do.
That was brief. Thank you.
Very brief.
Yeah, for the most part, just a digitizing of our radio systems to meet current and upcoming FCC standards. It's kind of like putting your arm behind your back and saying you'll do this, and we're going to tell you when you have to do it.
And it's correct, we're one of the last counties, right, to,
We are, we talked with Commissioner Shell yesterday that there's some benefit in being the last guy to the race sometimes. It's, we can learn from the other counties' mistakes and problems that they had, and also leverage some of their infrastructure to lower our costs. So,
and just to, I guess, front the conversation, this is a $72,000 needs assessment. However, this project is a several $million-dollar project, so it's going to be an expansive project. Not sure of the exact amount, but it's going to be a huge expense for the county that we have to figure out how we're going to pay for it. So
Sure.
we're all done.
When
Right.
we say several, that's over 10.
I'm trying to say several, as in, you know, if I say over 10, Stephanie gets itchy. so I
It's
like
too
to say
early in the
several.
morning for that.
So it's going to be a very extensive project. It's not something it's not a voluntary project. It's something we're required to do. It certainly could potentially be an impact, but we'll keep everybody up to date, and hopefully we can share some of those resources on the border areas to maybe alleviate some of those costs. So,
And this is something that we have discussed since COVID, quite honestly,
Yeah.
just to put it on the radar. And we've kicked the can down the road far enough, but the costs are just continuing to increase significantly. So it's no better time than the present.
and we've been warning people about this, but just for an example, every radio that fire and EMS has in Crawford County will be obsolete. Every monitor, every radio, every one of our systems that we have will be obsolete. It'll have to be replaced because of the narrowing and digitizing of our radio systems. I said we are the last county around us who hasn't done this, and some of those costs are bared in the size of our county. It's a large county. It's actually one of the reasons why we're doing the tower projects, because the more towers you own, the less expensive it can be for us in a lease process. So this is just going to be a bite the bullet kind of thing and get it figured out. So thank you, Greg. Just keep it up to date for that.
Thanks, Chris.
Planning. Morning, Zach.
Commissioners.
Hi.
First item this morning, we're asking to approve a pay and invoice to HRG Engineering in the amount of $17,000. This is for the East Branch Knox and Kane Trail project. It's paid for out of our ARC Power Grant Fund. A number of these are going to be paid out of grant funds.
And we are
just be
up to
aware.
date on this, right?
We are.
Okay, thank you.
Yep, we just got in a payment right before the new year.
Okay, just
And
checking. All right.
Denise came over and got it, so yeah.
Thank you.
So next, we're asking for approval to pay an invoice from Horizon Group in the amount of $142,299.80. This is for the Titusville Edmire Complex project, and it is paid for out of the City of Titusville's fiscal year 2022 CDBG program.
Okay.
We're asking for approval to pay an invoice to Pashik MTR in the amount of $1,808.82. This is for their engineering services on that same Titusville Edmire Complex, and is paid for out of the same CDBG program, Community Development Block Grant Program fund. We're also asking to pay an invoice to Horizon Construction Group in the amount of $180,230.58, again for the Knox and Kane Trail project, and this is paid for out of our ARC Appalachian Regional Commission power grant. We're asking for approval to pay an invoice to Venango Borough. This is to reimburse them for engineering services in the amount of $7,578.94. They are doing a project at Carl Gurdon Park next to the fire station, and that project is being paid for out of the county's 2021 CDBG program.
Okay.
And then we're asking to pay an invoice from Dyson Helmy in the amount of $3,782.98 for that same project, paid for out of that same fund. We're also seeking approval to pay an invoice from Michael Baker International, which is our consultant for the county's comprehensive plan project. That amount is $9,132.31. This is paid for out of the State Facilities Transition Closure Program grant that we received.
Okay.
We're also seeking to ratify the approval via resolution of myself as the 2024 Community Development Block Grant Program Delegation signing authority. So when we do invoices to pay and reimburse us all of those funds that I just read off, rather than having to come and bother any of you to do the paperwork online, I sign off to get the drawdown. So it's an administrative factor.
Okay.
Okay. Next, we're asking to ratify approval of a contract with Cochranton Area Library for the use of a meeting space on February 26th and August 26th of this year for the Crawford County Planning Commission. Next week, the Planning Commission will be meeting for their reorganization meeting, as well as their January regular monthly meeting. At their reorganization meeting, they'll set their schedule of time, date, and location. And this year, they're exploring the opportunity of traveling around Crawford County to hold their meetings rather than have it in one central location.
Good.
Is there a fee associated with that?
There was no fee attached to it.
That's good, okay.
He might know somebody from the library system.
Yeah.
So. And then finally, we're asking to ratify an approved invoice from Adobe Inc. in the amount of $659.88 for an Adobe Creative Cloud license. This was a budgeted item.
Any questions for Zach?
Nope, can you stick around when,
Thank you, Zach.
Zach, I'm sorry I missed the last few minutes of our presentation yesterday with Commissioner Seeley and I, but I was very impressed with the work your department's doing, so
Thank you.
Keep doing it.
Thanks.
County maintenance?
Good
Morning, Mark.
Asking to ratify approval of invoices for the courthouse remodeling project, the new finance office on the second floor to Granger for $27.53 and Home Depot for $87.20.
Okay.
Asking to ratify approval for invoices for the remodeling project for the new GIS office for carpet and LVT tile to Folks Flooring America for $3,500.
Okay.
Looks good in there. The guys did a nice job. Yeah, it does. It came out nice. Yep. Good color selection. Asking approval to pay Stantec Consulting Services for engineering services on the NPDS permit for the parking lot project behind the courthouse for $7,650.
Okay.
And asking approval to pay the Eads Group for engineering services for the parking deck rehab for $854.66.
Any questions for Mark? Thank you, Mark.
Thanks.
Sheriff Powers. Morning, Dave.
Hi, David.
I'm here to ask for the approval to pay Sheriff Association dues for this year that total $700.
Okay. Questions for Dave? Thank you, Dave. Human Services.
Nice.
Hi, sir.
I'm requesting approval of the purchase requisition to Hagan Business Machines of Meadville for the copier maintenance and supply agreement for the admin Toshiba copier. The contract is a one-year contract beginning on 1/10/24.
Okay.
Requesting to ratify payment to the Center for Family Services for ERAP 2 admin reimbursements through 12/21/23. The total cost is $77,110.67. There is no cost to the county.
Okay.
Requesting approval to create a Program Specialist 2 position to oversee and supervise our mental health-based service unit positions. Currently, these positions are being supervised by multiple different supervisors in different departments, which does not allow for consistent or effective supervision and management of these mental health programs.
Okay.
Requesting approval of the fiscal year 23-24 CYS-JP contract with Samantha Egger, MDIT Coordinator and Child and Family Abuse Family Advocate. Samantha is the MDIT Coordinator, Child and Family Advocate. She is responsible for obtaining intake information, following up with children and families after the forensic interview, and maintaining the NCA track database. Samantha's position is funded by a PCCD grant. There's no county match on this grant. Requesting approval of the fiscal year 23-24 CYS-JP contract with the Children's Home of Pittsburgh for foster care services. We had discontinued contracting with this provider due to not having any active placement with them since April of 2018, but we had an emergency placement on January 5th.
Any questions for Sue?
No, just
Thank
thank
you.
you for your hospitality the other day. It was appreciated.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thanks, Sue. Finance.
Good morning.
Morning,
Stephanie.
Stephanie.
Morning.
For your approval, I have the following invoices. Invoice number IN 23-20528, UPMC Health Plan. It's a refund room and board for $574.60. We owed this to UPMC back. The second is to CHAPS. It's the 2024 budgeted allocation in the amount of $16,600. The third is to Active Aging. It's the 2024 budgeted allocation in the amount of $8,000.
Okay.
The fourth is invoice number INV 057839, CCAP. It's the 2024 sixth class CCAP dues in the amount of $17,756. And finally, for your approval is invoice number INV 057367. Again, CCAP, it's the PCOMP contribution of $324,955. For your ratification, I have the following invoices. The first is invoice number 155648-0 to the PA County's Health Insurance. It's the January of 2024 premium in the amount of $464,236.99. The second is invoice number 83073 to Assured Partners TJS Insurance. It's the 11/1/23 to 11/1/24 General Professional Liability Insurance premium in the amount of $167,583. The third is invoice number 83069, again to Assured Partners TJS Insurance. It's the 11/1/23 to 11/1/27 excess liability in the amount of $21,550.69. Both of these are the tail coverage for the care center.
Okay.
The fourth is invoice number 00104-56857, Pitney Bowes Global Financial Services. It's the lease settlement for the Crawford County Care Center in the amount of $1,672.15. And finally, number 5 is to the PA Department of Human Services. It's the 2022, excuse me, 2023 final intergovernmental transfer payment, IGT, for the Crawford County Care Center in the amount of $3,611,277.
Okay, and for clarification, the IGT payment is something we do every year. This is just our final payment for the transfer from last year. So,
Correct.
And that would be the last we do
Correct.
IGT. So.
We are now finished.
Any other questions for Stephanie?
No.
Okay, Human Resources?
Good morning, Commissioners.
Morning,
Morning,
Brittany.
Brittany.
I'm requesting the approval of the 2024 shirt membership dues in the amount of $965. This is a budgeted item.
Any questions for Brittany? No. Thank you.
you.
Treasurer?
Good morning.
Morning.
Christine.
Here to ask for approval for payment of the 2024 dues for the County Treasurers Association of Pennsylvania in the amount of $625. This is a budgeted item.
Okay.
And also asking for approval on a contract with Government Software Services, Inc. for tax billing agreement for computer services for 2024. This is a budgeted item, and it has been reviewed by Keith Button.
Any question for Christine? Okay, I will handle the EMS side and Scott will do the fire side, just so you understand the process. We appreciate everybody who applied for the EMS and the fire commission. Each commissioner sat down together. We also took some guidance from Director Beveridge and EMA Director Alan Clark in regards to what we thought the process would be. The meetings will start, the EMS commission will actually start hopefully at the end of this month, if not the early next month. We'll find a good time and meeting date for the EMS commission. So we'd like to bring forth the following names from the EMS commission. Bill Taylor, he's the ambulance chief of Townville Ambulance Service. Krista Greer, she's the director of active aging. Kurt Dennis is a telecommunicator, also a Greenwood Township supervisor. Dave Basnack's the director of emergency care. Madeira Paraskis is the ambulance chief of Client Lake. Evan Kardosh, the deputy fire chief and EMS coordinator for Meadville Fire Department. Austin Bates is the Springboro Fire Department ambulance chief. Earl Mook is a member of the Cochrane Fire Department. Dan Brzee is a rescue captain, Cochrane Fire Department. Amanda Harper is the secretary-treasurer of the Borough of Linesville. Tom Perry is the director of campus security and safety at Meadville Medical Center. Casey Dixon is a resident of the city of Meadville. Mike Forbes is a supervisor at Union Township. Dan Miller is the fire chief of Blooming Valley Fire Department in QRS. And Alte Baskin is a paramedic for several ambulance services and agencies across the county. We will let you know by email, and then we will vote on these, but to get the meeting set up and scheduled. And then we'll go from there. And Commissioner Shell, if you handle the fire commission.
Yeah, I'd like to thank the many people that submitted their names to be on the fire commission. And that committee is going to consist of 15 people. It's going to be Robert Horvath, who's the township manager for Vernon Township. John Fuller, who's an assistant fire chief in Vernon Central. Bob McCartney, who's an assistant chief at Fallowfield Fire Department. Jim Pratt, who is the fire chief at Westmead 2. Jim Brown, who is an assistant chief with the city of Titusville. Joe Smock, who is a captain with the Meadville City Fire Department. Josh Manuel, who's fire chief in Townville. Eric Costin, who is the fire chief in East Mead Township. John Tracy, who is the fire chief in Conneaut Lake. Ryan Sikorsky, who's an assistant fire chief in Cochranton. Bobby Weimer, who's an assistant chief with Greenwood. Phil Kuhn, who's an assistant chief with the Sagertown Fire Department. Brad Johnson, who is vice president with Westmead 1 Fire Department. Pete Aubaugh, who is president of the Summit Township Fire Department. And Chuck Lawrence, who is the borough manager and past fire chief from Sagertown Borough. So we appreciate those people, and they'll be notified via email, and we'll also, Eric and I will figure out how to get the meetings set up properly.
Okay, thank you. Gina?
I have several notifications, and the first one's from Dyson Helmy for a small flow facility treatment on a single-family residence in South Shenango Township. Second one is an Act 14 notification from Wilson Engineering Services for an NPDES permit for a small flow treatment facility on a single residence in Wayne Township. Notification from Civil and Environmental Consultants for Chapter 105 and 102 permits for the proposed Meadville Loop Linesville Road pipeline replacement. And an Act 14 notification from Vitro Meadville Flat Glass for a GP7 permit in Greenwood Township.
Okay, any questions for Gina?
At this time.
Upcoming events, January 24th will be a full session. February 7th will be a work session. Any public comment? Commissioner comments, Commissioner Shell.
We're still 3 weeks into our new positions, but between Commissioner Seeley and I, we greatly appreciate all your assistance and explanations as to how your departments run. And we're going to keep on working that direction. So thank you all very much.
Commissioner Seeley.
Sure. Again, echoing Commissioner Shell's sentiments as well, we would just note on an election matter that absentee and mail-in ballot applications are currently being accepted. So if it is your intent to file one of those, you can do so at any time. We would just also remind Crawford County voters, as we have already entered the 2024 primary season, with Iowa having already voted, that Pennsylvania being a closed primary state, it is important to know that if you are not a member of one of the two major parties, your primary voting is essentially non-existent without a question of some sort. So without a ballot question. So should you need to change your party status, your voting status of any sort, please contact the Voter Services Office. They'll be happy to help you do so.
Okay, and I'm just going to touch on the P25 radio project so people understand. It actually, the cost of since COVID, it started in 2020, we had a discussion. It has increased significantly. The cost of the P25 radio project actually could extend beyond the price of the Judicial Center. And so when people talk about a concern and budget and why we make tough decisions, because we have to come up with probably $20 million. And so it's not one of those things that is an option. And as Scott can attest, a lot of the fire departments that we deal with have a fixed and tight budget. A lot of them have a hard time paying their utility bills. So part of the project with P25 and the digital radio system is to help them purchase mobiles and portables for their own departments. Again, as I stress, it requires us to replace all of our tower hardware. It requires us to replace all of our digital console hardware at the actual public safety building. Notwithstanding, this is a huge process. It's going to require some finesse from our financing department to find a way to finance that through bond or process. We're going to figure that out, but we cannot wait any longer. Just to give you the estimate, the first estimate we got was $12 to $15 million. The last estimate we got was $18 to $20 million. So that was just a matter of 3 years in the span of the process of the equipment. There is no way around it. It is not an option. It's only a matter when the federal government says you must do it. They give you a 5-year window. Every county around us is either in process or completed their P25 project. And by the way, Sheriff Powers, that means your radios will also be obsolete. So those costs will come back to us as well, because it's not only is it fire and EMS, it's also police departments as well. So it's not something that we necessarily want to do, but it's something that we have to do. And this board has decided that it's time to figure out what that cost is going to be and how we're going to pay for it. I can't stress to you enough that it is a large project. We knew it was coming. It was just a matter of where we could fit it in. And that's why when people talk about whether or not things are important to us, whether it be reassessment discussions or things, I find public safety radios to be kind of important. And I think that's something that we have to figure out. So the 2 towers will help us lower the cost, but we may have to look at other tower projects in order to offset these costs as well. It's a very concerning project to me, but it necessarily has to be done. We will definitely keep you informed and keep you up to date on the project as it goes forward. If no other discussions, we will see you next week. Thank you.